Welcome to The Beam, where curiosity stirs conversations, taking us a step further into the future we desire. Here we bring you the issues that matter, the voices that challenge, and the insights that inspire. I am Sunes Nathaniel. We have a very important topic to explore on this episode of The Beam. But before we get into that conversation, let us bring you our spotlight for this week. We'll be right back. Please stay with us. Don't go away.
Unlocking sustainable prosperity across continents with Nigeria at the heart of its vision. Officials of Future Union Holdings, led by the chairman of the board of directors, are here for a news conference. This multi-billion-dollar commitment is not just about financial investment. It is about building Africa's future through strategic partnerships, sustainable development, and inclusive growth.
We are happy here to come to Nigeria. Inshallah, we are seeing new things here in Nigeria and investments in Nigeria and seeing the future union with partners here in Nigeria, inshallah. And we see the future of Nigeria will be the perfect future for us as the Future Union Group. And we are so happy that we are here.
With over 60 companies across Africa, Future Union is determined to change the business landscape of Nigeria.
We have banks that we collaborate with, huge names that are willing to come into Nigeria to open up a collaboration with your banks, as well as we have international economists who are ready to fix the economy of the country for a better future.
It's a very big privilege to have Sheikh Abdurrahman, His Excellency Sheikh Abdurrahman Atani, and the CEO, Doctor, and every member of the team in Nigeria, and they are ready to do a lot of business in Nigeria. I can see you're asking about a figure. And Future Union don't have a figure. Wherever, if Nigeria can give us what we want, we can invest any amounts for Nigeria.
The portfolio of Future Union Nigeria is highlighted.
It have already under umbrella 60 company for more sector, oil and gas, all energy, okay, and construction, infrastructure, aviation, for railway. We have communication and for transportation.
With its headquarters in Qatar, Future Union is an investment corporation with a well-known reputation of managing diverse portfolio across asset classes, countries, and industries.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is The Beam. Today we take a hard look at the crowning trend that speaks volumes about how we use and see value, innovation, and our future. This episode is about the fake upgrades, the real futures, and rethinking innovation in Africa. From converting iPhone XR into iPhone 17 Pros to copying global models instead of creating local ones, we are asking, is this packaging or is it a symptom of something deeper? A crisis of innovation, imagination, and identity. My guest today is someone who's working at the crossroads of technology, education, and empowerment, helping young Africans build real skills for real futures. Michael Chukwudi Enuneku, known as Mr. Chooks on social media, tech entrepreneur, business consultant, and founder of the RegoNet Global, one of Nigeria's most impactful technology academies in our own time. You're welcome, Mr. Chukwudi.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pleasure having you because we need to bring those who are on social media to speak about the things and the trends we see.
It's a pleasure being
So let's begin from there. That's where our conversation started. The whole fixing iPhone XR down to iPhone 17 Pros. And then you said something very important about how we need to change the mindset. It's almost like the young people still have the mindset of the old ones who have been, running this country till now. So what's your further take on that?
There are two primary things that I saw when this whole trend started. One of them is this extreme level of materialism that we have in this continent, especially Nigeria. We seek for the latest things, even when we know we can't afford it. And, if you think about these things, there's a factory somewhere in China where these things are sitting there unlimited. People are not even using it. But somebody here is trying to do the most outrageous things to buy a phone. And we've now come to a place whereby we're not just doing the most outrageous things, we are now going for that to even copy existing models. We're trying to modify existing models to look like newer models. And somebody is telling us that we can buy it at a cheaper rate. So one of the things that got me really pissed off is that, look, first of all, even if you want to do this, the Chinese people do it. You can import these casings and let them assemble it here in Nigeria. At least give some people the opportunity to actually create an income for themselves, regardless of the fact that whatever it is that you're doing is not right. Secondly,
I mean, let's state clearly, whatever you're doing is not right.
But at least that gives, but then on the flip side of things, you now have somebody who says, okay, I want to help Nigerians, right? And you're coming out to push a narrative of the same thing. Naturally, the reason why I even reacted to this whole thing was because I saw through the whole thing. These are two people who have a misunderstanding online. It has nothing to do with Nigerians. In reality, it has nothing to do with Nigerians. It's just them having their own argument. But generally, we as people, we should look beyond these things. I think naturally, for me, I am a very entrepreneurial person. I believe in business. And I think the next generation of entrepreneurs will build Nigeria. I don't think politicians will build the country. Politicians don't build anywhere. Everywhere you see, government policies build, but entrepreneurs execute. And all of this mindset is not a building mindset. It's more or less of just a materialism and importation mindset. You know?
It's beautiful you've brought that in, because the young people must think differently. And so that takes us to, financial learning, basically. That's the future learning, rather. The future learning when it comes to technology. And one of those things you've been championing is how the education for technology needs to change. It isn't just business. It has to be something that says we're giving back to society. You want to build on that.
Now, generally, one thing that I've seen with the Nigerian system is that there is little or no investment in improving our educational system generally across board. And, it reflects in the mindset of the people and also reflects in how they deal with things, where they get their information. Right now, majority of people are more educated from social media than they are from schools. And that is something that is destructive, because you don't regulate what goes out in the social media space. Somebody can come out and say something random, and because the person has influence, people take that as gospel. And that is dangerous. I think that is dangerous. And for us, what we want to do is we want to start to correct that narrative that, look, some of these things that are put out there are not necessary. And then number two, people should start leaning towards practical education, right? So for us, we are in the tech and business space, right? That's where we are. And that's what we champion, right? We champion innovation in technology. We champion taking advantage of global opportunities using technology. And we also champion, of course, entrepreneurship in tech. That's our focus, right? And of course, still building the next generation, building the mindset of the next generation, because, that's something that we believe that will help a lot in building the future of this country. You
think that concept of giving back to society, that concept of really creating what the people can really consume, you think that really is a value that a lot of young people can, follow through and say, hey, we're going to champion this, we're going to continue to push this, especially from Nigeria and down to the rest of Africa?
I see this as we need to change our value system generally. And it all comes from our value system. You have a value system where people value, aesthetics over content and, just, it's a very wild thing that you see in this country. If we can change our value system to a point whereby we value education, we value actually being innovative, we'll get there. And that's why I'm in the media space. That's why I make videos online. Because I see myself as that person that I don't necessarily worship people who have money. I'm not that kind of person. I've never had that inclination to say, okay, I want to look for connection. No. I'm the kind of person that I believe in building your own self-value. And when you build your own self-value, everybody will look for you, right? So as Nigerians that we are, when we build our value, the world will come to us. Look at the Chinese, look at the Indians. American tech companies are fighting for Indian workers to move to the US. Yeah. And that is because they've built a value system that prioritizes education. The equivalent of MIT in India is a very beautiful school. Everything there is taught practically. But the Nigerian educational system doesn't prioritize that. And that is because Nigeria, the value system is wrong. And that is where we come in as a company. As Regonet, what we do is we introduce practical education that everybody can afford. Affordability is one of the core things for us. And, we don't see education as a premium thing. We see it as a need for life. So for us, education is needed for you to actually thrive. So it's not something that you put a peg at a premium. No, it should be closer to philanthropy. That's how we see it. And one of the things that we now do is that we now attach value to it by creating opportunities within our learning system. So our learning system is a work-first system. If you're learning a particular skill with us at Regonet, you're not learning, you're building tools, you're building softwares, you're building apps while you're learning. Those tools are sold to a global audience through our network of channels. We control a lot of media channels. One thing I've done over the last few years is that I've been able to build my media presence, not just within Nigeria, but of course outside. And that has given us the opportunity to be able to leverage that media presence and push things to a global audience. So in the long run, we can control the software space in Nigeria and even across Africa. And it's something that I think with just a little more push and a little more focused effort, we will achieve.
All right. So one thing everybody who's going to be watching right now, especially the young persons, millions of them across, what they will be thinking about is you're saying, hey, why are we just moving from just trying to case SR to, 15 Pro and 17 Pro and all the rest? What is new about the model system of tech education and, the kind of education and system you're trying to, to push forward, at Regonet Global? How does it differ from what has been there? And where does it take the average Nigerian youth to? How does it work?
Okay, now let me give you a very simple explanation of something, right? You see, when you want to train somebody on something, when you want to teach somebody something, the first thing you do is you start from the end result of that education. When you go to the general Igbo structure of learning skills, right? You start learning from a master, somebody who has built a business, right? You see where the person has come to. You see the value that they are creating in society. When you start learning, you know where you are going to. You are clear on your direction. But the education system in Nigeria doesn't give us a clear direction of where you are going to when you start learning anything. Except you're learning maybe a professional course, which at the end of the day, you yourself, you think, oh, this thing may not amount to anything. Or I may have to just jump back. But for us, what we are looking at is the AI revolution. There's a saying that goes like this, that the next billionaires in tech will not be programmers. They will be vibe coders. There will be people who are basically leveraging AI tools to build solutions for the future. There are people who are putting up thousands of millions of dollars in GPU systems across the world. But people who are going to create the real value are going to be people who leverage these tools to solve everyday problems for individuals and businesses. Automation is coming. That is a fact. Across every sector. Very soon, you go to banks and you will not even see people there. It will be systems that would operate. It is Nigerians that will build the systems that should work here in Nigeria, or else they will build it for us and they will sell it to us and we'll buy as usual. But with what we are doing in Regonet, we are equipping people with the skill set to build tools and systems that would outlive their learning process. At the end of the day, these tools and systems will be valuable enough in different work environments. And then, of course, it's going to be profitable in the long run for the people who are learning the skills.
All right, so let's go to one of the things that in recent time has been thriving when it comes to the use of AI and making money social media-wise, which is one of the places where you really flourish. A lot of people will tell you about how they're thinking, in fact, let me begin from this point. Does that faceless YouTube creation and all the rest, does it really still work? Are Nigerians really benefiting from it, or is it just another facade when it comes to how you can make money online and some of the extra things we're running around about? Yeah.
Now, this concept of make money online fast is one of the things that we should slow down on. We should think of building value, right? Let me explain this to you. If you build a faceless channel, right, a faceless media channel, let's not even call it YouTube channel, let's call it a faceless media channel, right? The importance of that is that it cuts across global audiences. If you see me here sitting down now talking to you, I am a Nigerian. I have a Nigerian accent. People know I'm Nigerian. I'm relating to a Nigerian audience. When you're building for a German audience, when you're building for a Spanish audience, you can do that through a faceless media channel across YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, right? When you build these channels, What that does is that you can be able to put out content out there that appeals to this audience. Now, what does that do for you? It gives you a channel to sell to them. So right now, you are not limited to your Nigerian audience. You have an opportunity to create content that people around the world will watch. Mind you, these places have what you call higher CPM, cost per mil. Their ad revenue is higher. The affiliate deals there are higher. If you give me a product to promote to a German audience and somebody buys that product, my commissions are higher. So I am here sitting in Nigeria, in my house in Lagos or in my house in Kaduna, and I'm running a media channel that is for a German audience. I'm promoting German products. I'm making German ad revenue. And I'm importing dollars into the country without even having to step out of the country. That is where faceless media channels across platforms like YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, that is the new media we are going into. We are going to a place whereby, TV series will be made entirely by automated systems. These systems are that good. They are really that good that they can recreate TV series. They can recreate life stories. They can recreate biopics. And we are not at the forefront of this. Again, because we are distracted by who is using the latest iPhones. We're not at the forefront. And that is what we are doing. So for us, we are training over 300 video editors at once. Simply for this same purpose. To get them into a system whereby they understand that, look, this is a skill that cannot just put, and again, there are other aspects. Right now, video marketing is one of the biggest marketing out there. Everybody's on their phone 24/7. Brands are trying their best to put their ads on your phone screen as much as possible. Who are the ones who are making these videos? Video editors. They are very powerful. So what we are doing is we are showing them the way, empowering them with the tools, giving them the instructors, and then building with them. Not even just training them, we are building with them. Our company's ethos, our company's entire mission is to build with everybody that goes through our academy, right? And that is why everything we do, our prices are extremely low. It's more or less philanthropy because we are building with them.
Now, let me take you up on this, because one of those extra things about the model and the system is the fact that some people are building, you guys are channeling it and taking it out and all those kind of, speak to how the ecosystem is going to thrive more with such kind of collaborations, and what the collaborations really, we're talking about is, because you're not talking about one person just designing something. You're saying this person is designing this person is looking at this other. So how does that kind of an ecosystem build the kind of digital future we're looking out for when it comes to Nigeria?
Okay. Now, this is an entire overview of our model, right? When a student comes into Regulnet, when you come into our ecosystem, the first thing you do is you start learning a skill. The second step is that you are grouped with a team of students to go build a real world project. Right now, we have about 3 core focus that we put our minds on. Number 1 is Python as a programming language. And number 2 is video editing as a skill. The reason why we look at these 2 things, it branches out into 3 other things. Python in itself, right, is the core programming language used for AI development. It's also the core programming language used for ethical hacking and cybersecurity. So learning Python alone gives you that flexibility, right? On the other hand, video editing is the core skill needed to build the media channels of the future. So what we are doing is we are marrying building tools with media channels for marketing, because whenever you build anything in software, you have to market. Marketing is the lifeblood of software.
All right, you're watching The Beam, where the old is reckoned with, the future is interrogated, and indeed, power is held to purpose. We'll be right back. It promises to be more interesting from here on. Welcome back. This is The Beam, and we're still in conversation with Michael Chukwudi Enuneku. Mr. Chuks, the tech entrepreneur, strategist, and founder of Regulnet Global. It's been interesting all the while. Let's get into that further conversation about what Nigerians should be doing right now. What do you think these billionaire guys who are in tech, who are the guys who are changing XR to iPhone 17 Pro, the guys who have access to China, what do you think they should be reconsidering as we speak right now?
We have to start from somewhere. When it comes to hardware is a space I love. It's an expensive space to play in, but it's a space I love a lot. And we should look at hardware as something that we would approach with more or less like an assembly mindset, right? Apple themselves don't make any phones. You know, the chipset is made in Japan. The cameras are made by Sony. These components are made everywhere. Apple is a marketing company. They're a marketing and branding company. Their headquarters in California doesn't make anything, you know. So when people see these things, they think, oh, Apple is somewhere in the US coupling phones. They're not doing that, you know. So the first thing we need to do is we need to do what the Chinese have done. If you want to sell in our market, assemble in our market. That's the first thing. We're not saying we're going to produce the chipsets. We're not saying we're going to produce the cameras. Get an assembly plant in Lagos or anywhere you can find space, and let us assemble our devices ourselves. That's the first thing we need to do. Because that in itself will create a lot of jobs for Africans. And that will expose us to looking at the technology. We'll have people who will now start interacting with the technology, see how the technology works. And that is the first step. The second step will be to start making light components. Components that we can make. Plastic components. You know, phones are made up of plastic, metals, and of course glass. Right? Let's start making glass components. These are easy things that we can start doing. You know, and this is where the government comes in. Because at this part, the government needs to be proactive. To say, look, this is a policy. The Chinese government was very proactive. You have to manufacture here. You have to assemble here for us to buy your product. We are an over 1 billion people economy. Nigeria is an over 200 million people economy. We have the leverage in Africa. We have the leverage to say, look, if you don't assemble here, we don't buy. Especially for the biggest smartphone sales company in Nigeria, which is, of course, the Infinix, the Technos, and the rest of them. That is where we should start from. You know, as we start from there, we progress towards making light components, and then, of course, we progress towards making, you know, software to integrate with hardware, and we go up from there.
Yeah, let's still build on it. You know, you said something about the MIT being somewhere there in the US, and then a kind of a version in, you know, in India and all the rest. And the question then becomes, what is stopping us from achieving such kind of a feat? What do we need to, you know, put right now in place when it comes to the education that sees the future? Because the education that sees the future is a tech education first, in the real sense of it, right? You know, tech, science, all blend into one to make sure that the future is something that we have a product to offer the world, right? So what really is missing now, and how do we juxtapose all this? Because it's almost like we're in branches, we're in small subsets, right? How do we do it to make sure that it's one full community producing for Africa and for the world?
The government, again, needs to, you know, I keep going back to the government because, again, you know, private sector is a bit limited in some of these things, right? But even if the private sector decides to build, like for us, we are building towards that level. You know, we are building towards a point whereby we have a physical academy where people can come to, where you have campuses, where you have people doing hardware, doing software, and where you just have an ecosystem that serves not just Nigeria, but goes beyond, right? The word there would be, what do you call this word when something is very capital intensive? That's the word there. It's very capital intensive project, right? Because it's a project that you build for the future. You know, if you put 10 billion naira in a campus, you wouldn't get it in 10 years.
Definitely.
You know, you wouldn't. So it's something that it has to be a private-public partnership with government commitment to build a campus like this, right? Affordable workspaces, affordable hostels where people can stay in, get affordable food, and just invest their time in research and development. Half of tech is research and development.
But they can argue that we have research schools. We have, FUTO, we have FUTA, we have all the schools.
What is the product of these research institutions? Again, it comes down to us being very specific with what we want. You know, schools are general institutions. You know, if you look at MIT is a technology-focused, you know, institution, right? Majority of the tech that is used today by us came out of MIT. The touchscreen phones you use, the technologies that runs touchscreen, came out of a school, right? To show you how laser focused they are on finding these problems, right? So we need to really be laser focused like that. But again, you know, if you say these things, people will say, oh, there are so many light years ahead of us. How do we catch up? And that's why I make it simple. Let us start with what we can start with, assembling. Let us at least get to the point whereby our people can see technologies knocked down, right? We would grow towards there.
All right. In 1 minute before I just let you go, as a young innovator, you want to use your brand to change lives. You want to really impact and everything. What kind of innovation do you want Africa to be telling? Say maybe in 10 years from now, beyond these fake upgrades and iPhone this and iPhone that not. What story what narrative should we be pushing out there that will be very valid in the next 10 years and beyond?
For one, in the next 10 years, I believe that Africa will not be very different. Nigeria will also not be very different in terms of our value system, right? But in the next 25 to 30 years, there will be a strong change if we push for it, right? The next generation of kids, not my generation. My generation is a bit away. They are a bit away. But the next people who are coming, we have the chance to put them in line. We have a chance to put them in line. I do volunteer to teach in school sometimes, just because I just want to at least show people that, okay, your teachers are doing, I don't know how to put it, but I just want to give them. They can do more. There's more that can be done. Yes, and I do it for free. I do it for free because I feel like these are things that generally people wouldn't want to do, and then these kids will grow up and they'll have a phone, and then their only source of learning is somebody saying something on social media that is incorrect, or that they are saying just for likes and views.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chuks, for bringing your clarity, your vision, and all the beautiful comments and the ideas that you have. I'm hoping that they begin to translate into something bigger very soon.
Thank you for having me.
All right, that's it on The Beam today. We'll be leaving you with our top 5 videos of the week. I am Soonest Nathaniel, and as always, we urge you, stay curious, stay informed, stay engaged, and keep beaming your light where it matters the most. May this nation continue to rise and flourish. Bye for now. This week, we begin our countdown with a video of the military announcing the arrest of a wanted IPOB commander and 8 other members of the proscribed group. In 4th place, we see the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, tell Mr. Peter Obi that celebrating his birthday in IDP camps will not make the former governor of Anambra State become president of Nigeria. Coming third in our countdown this week is a clip in which Mr. Peter Obi asserts that there was no need to have initially arrested IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu. In 2nd place, former Nigerian militant commander, Government Ekpemu Polo, who is popularly known as Tom Polo, makes his first public appearance in 10 years at an event in Delta State. And coming tops on our list this week, reality TV star and media personality Tasha completes her Guinness World Record attempt with 144 makeovers in 24 hours. That's it on our countdown today. Join us next week for more.